Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
And I'm Liz.
And this week we're going to talk about season 12, episode 20, Twins and Twine and Tasha Banes.
Isn't it Twigs and Twine?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Twigs
they
and
are
twine.
twins.
But there's twins in it, so
but
it
there
threw me
are
off.
twins. There's lots of twas. There's actually, like, are there that many more words that have a twa in them? I think those may be all the twa words in the language.
It's the main ones. Definitely
Twigs,
the main ones.
twine, and twins. That also sounds kind of like a country song.
It does. Yeah. Yep. What have you been up to, Liz?
Oh, just watching cats doing acrobatic things. So
Yeah.
the acro cats came to town and they are quite a hoot. If you've ever seen the Netflix series Cat People, and if you haven't, I highly recommend you immediately watch that after this. You listen to our episode, not now. Let's go watch it afterwards. But there is an episode where they are featured, and it is a woman who and has a bunch of other women with her who train cats to do things. And so they walk tight ropes, they hit applause signs, they push each other in cars, they roll around in little tunnel things, or just, and then also sometimes they just don't because they're cats. And that actually was kind of better. I think, like, and if you had a dog and like they didn't do their trick, you just be kind of sad, right? Yeah. You're like, oh man, poor guy, like what's going on, But if a cat doesn't do their trick, you're just like, yeah, whatever, he's a cat.
Yeah, of course.
And sometimes the cats would just get up and like wander into the audience. And I just thought that was great. And there's like, just don't leave your drinks on the floor because the cats will get them. And then also they show like how trainable cats are by they were partnered with the San Antonio Feral Cats Coalition. So the feral cat people brought a kitten in for adoption. So she took this kitten that was like brand new to like the world and was like training it on stage how to like jump over like chairs. And just like with like she had some meats and she was like here and was like clicker and was like and then like the cat was jumping on a chair. So, and then you could adopt the cat if you wanted to afterwards. I did not adopt a cat, but that was nice. But then the cats all, like most of them played in a rock band, and there is a cat on synthesizer, there was a drummer, there was a guitar player, there was Cluck Norris, who was the chicken, and he played cymbals. He was pretty good at the cymbals. And there was another cat playing wind chimes. And then at the end, she had brought out a saxophone, a trumpet, and a clarinet. And I'm going to tell you the secret of how she made it look like they were playing it. She would get slurry, and then their helpers would get slurry and then put it on the instrument, and then the cats would go lick it. So it looks like the cats are playing the instrument. It's pretty awesome. But I'm not mad at it, because then they had the sound guy doing like a trumpet, and then so it's, Oh, and they had a grand piano that I think was just part of the venue, so happened to be there, and they just had a cat playing it. So yeah, that was. And I had a Meow Mosa.
Mosa. Okay.
Yes. Which gave me a bit of Meow Majestion, but but it was a good time, and it was like part of the proceeds go to the Feral Cat Coalition. She does that. They have like 4 shows, and I think they're all sold out. They had a fuck ton of merch, and they are cashing in. And during the show, they show off all the merch. They have one cat named Jax who has his own Insta separate from it, and he's got his own line of merchandise because he likes to sit on a skull. So it's just this cat sitting on a silver skull. Of course people want to buy that. I'm like, yeah, I kind of want that. That's kind of want Jax. And he has little pirate flags and
like you do.
Yeah. So that was my week. What about yours?
We made it to Austin for the Lone Star Roundup, which is a big car show. And by made it, I mean we barely made it because Duchess, my 63 Cadillac, is not happy. And we went to a really cool car hangout at the Hope Hope Community Gallery. It's in Austin. It was really neat setup there, and saw a bunch of cool cars. And then we went to the big car show on Saturday, and Duchess breathed her current engine's final breath as we had to leave her in Austin and come back to Dallas unexpectedly instead of driving her home because it wasn't going to work. So I'm a little bummed, and it's going to be expensive. That's what my weekend turned into. But we were glad to get back to the puppers because we got to introduce Albus and Socket to each other, and they played, and that was fun.
That is fun.
But yeah, so we were with it was nice to hang out with some of our friends at the car show. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't great on Saturday. They had a good weather day Friday before we got down there. It was just hot, but yeah.
Yeah, no, we're having it's a weather event. Probably like it went from kind of like drizzly to oh, this is a problem type of rain.
Yeah.
And so yeah, at least you were able to get home and the weather
Before
didn't
that.
keep you like stuck in Austin, which I was kind of worried. Like we were like, oh, like we're delayed. I'm like, oh, it's not good here right now.
I know, I was watching. I was like, ruh. But yeah, so we made it back. It's just, and then just trying to, Duchess is back home. She was towed home by a friend of ours, and like not just by a friend, like she had to be towed and paid to be towed, to be clear. But she's back home, and we will be making decisions about how to get her back running in the future. But not this week. That's not a this week problem. This is a settle back in.
Yeah, cool.
So, but
yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think there's much going on in the land except for the new episode of The Boys where wow, it was a good episode. So I'm glad those are still going strong. All right. So this episode, which is Twigs and Twine and Tasha Banes, so it was named that because the writer Steve, and it's either Yoki or Yaki, I'm not sure. His episodes for season 12 all involved using the name of the focal character in the title of the episode. So we had Celebrating the Life of Asa Fox, Lily Sunder Has Some Regrets, and now we have Tasha Banes in this one. And as you said, this was season 12, episode 20. So we're almost done with the season. This first aired May 4th, 2017, and was directed by Richard Speight Jr. And this was his third episode. His first two were season 11's episode 8, Just My Imagination. And this season, episode 12, Stuck in the Middle with You. So this was, and you can see through it. It's kind of a Speight episode. Yep. So on our recap, Dad's on a hunting trip, the exact line, and witches, and kitchen witches, and witches that get their power from demons. What? No. And the hot hunter twins that are raised by a witch. Then the BMOL are stalking the hunters, and they killed Mick. Oh no. And how does Sam get his hair so shiny? And then some Dagon, the cult is gone. Then there's a yellow eye glowing thing happening around this baby, and then Dagon was burned.
Yep. Yeah. And we open in Rock River, Wyoming at the Mountain Slumber Boarding House.
Are boarding houses still a thing?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I just was like, wait, what? And I was like, I think this feels just kind of like an Airbnb. But like not Airbnb, excuse me, like not Airbnb, a B&B, an actual bread and breakfast.
But it's a daily and long-term rates, which would make it a boarding house. And I'm like, is this like the 1800s? What the fuck is happening here? So... But yeah, so we are in Rock River, Wyoming, and there's a woman. She walks in carrying a suitcase.
And this older woman is sitting there rolling yarn and informs her that she needs to ring the bell. And then they just have a very snarky exchange.
This escalates quickly.
Yeah. And the woman that had just entered offers to cleanse the other woman's muddy aura.
Which is a little rude. You know, so and
she deserved it.
Yeah, she did, but it's a lot. And so she goes to ring the bell, and this guy, who we later learned is Andy, comes down and verifies that her name is Tasha Banks and that she called. Yes. And he asked why she's there, and he's like, business or pleasure? And she's like, a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. So we cut to her in her room, and Tasha is doing a spell. And while she's doing this spell where she's got like this crystal hanging off a chain telling it to reveal. And we see that she's getting text messages from Alicia, checking on her, but she doesn't answer those.
Yeah, and this broom is just like a liability issue. There's a fire in the fireplace, and then she's got a fuck ton of candles that are like on the floor, on the table, just around everywhere, all willy nilly, just letting this pendulum swing around. Like she's not even knowing where that's going. And yeah, so that just concerned me.
Yeah, and her eyes turn purple. And and then she gets up, and the stone starts glowing purple, and her eyes stop glowing purple. To be clear, and she follows it through. It pulls her through the house, outside to the creepy cellar doors.
And of course, she's going to open these cellar
Duh.
doors and walk down them. And apparently, it smells really bad. And she doesn't have a flashlight, and she's still going in there.
Yeah, super weird. And there's a bunch of mossy plants on the wall and dried flowers hanging from the ceiling. And then she gets stabbed through the stomach from behind.
Real stabbed. She is stabbed hard.
Yeah, big time.
And it goes.
And it looked like a really like a jaggedy blade. It was not like
it was not nice. It was not nice at all. Not on a good way to go. And we go from there to the title card. We're just like, okay, so that's how we're starting. And we're going to cut from there to the bunker. And Dean is saying to Sam that Cass is, and I just thought it was really funny because he says his Cass's Super Mario power up crap wasn't Cass, and for a second I thought they were talking about like actually playing video games because I was playing Super Mario the other day, and I was just like, what? Like, was he just mad that he like got a power up? What the fuck? What? Oh no, he's talking about when he got possessed by the baby. Okay. Yeah.
But it's also an interesting timeline. This is last night. So this is a quick timeline turnaround. Usually there's a little bit more gap between the time that it occurs between episodes, I feel like. But anyways, but he also calls out that wasn't the Cass he knows because Cassiel said that he has faith in Lucifer Jr. and he thought that was weird. So and Sam's like, yeah, this doesn't really make sense. But to find him, we're going to have to think like him. And Dean's like, I don't know. Even in the past, even if I disagreed with Cass, I at least understood why he made the choices that he did. But after this, I don't recognize the guy staring.
Yeah, and Sam now has like the remnants of the cult. So we at least have like, it wasn't completely melted down. It was just kind of half melted. And he thinks he can maybe fix it. And then a phone starts vibrating and they find it. And Sam's like, it must be one of Mom's. And like, what, one of Mom's that runs on infinite battery
and
power.
It's like under a book in the other room. And this book was like, oh, it's really weird.
Like, who charges all the Winchester phones? Like, why isn't there just like a wall of charging cables that are like shorting out the electricity at the bunker
at all times? And so Sam answers, and it's Alicia, one of the hot witch twins. Hunter twins. Yes. And she was trying to reach Mary because she was hoping Mary would help her because her mom was hunting a witch and that was killing people in Wyoming, and she disappeared.
And her brother is also there. And Hot Max is just like, keep me the fuck out of this. Basically, that he thinks Alicia is overreacting and that she is acting a little crazy.
Mm-hmm. And he's certain that Mom's fine. So Sam's like, well, Mary's not here, but do you want us to meet you? And Dean's like, what the fuck? We're supposed to be finding Cass. So they get off the phone and Sam's like, look, Cass ditched his phone. Jody's got an APB out over 3 states, which is wild. And then, is that an abuse of power? I'm just saying. And they just don't have anything else to do until they get a break in this case, so they might as well. And, and then we get Sam points out a parallel.
Yeah, and then he tells Dean that their mom is on a hunting trip and hasn't been home in a week. And they both like know what that feels like, and that's why we had that reference back in the recap. And so Dean reluctantly agrees to go.
Yeah.
Before he does that, though, he's going to take out his phone and he's going to call Mary. And at first you're like, oh my God, Mary's locked up in a chair and being tortured by Ketch. What the fuck is going on? And then you're like, oh wait, there are 2 Marys. Yeah. And so you're like, oh.
So Ketch is just torturing someone that looks like Mary while Mary stands there.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's
anyways.
not great. And Dean leaves her a voicemail telling her that he's going off with the twins. And if she could help out, it would be great. Otherwise, just call him back because he's spun out and he needs his mommy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and Ketch is then kind of they do a narrative explanation that basically that this thing has taken Mary's form, and he's got these crazy like bolt stabby things that he's stabbing into
They
her.
must
I
be
don't know.
silver, and like is
Yeah,
the
'cause
shifter, and
it's a
that's what I'm
shifter. Yeah,
thinking. Like it
yeah,
reacts to the silver, so it's putting that into to make it work. And but the real Mary is like, you should stop because torture doesn't work.
yeah. And this is just not cool because they're not going to talk anyways. And Ketch is just like, no, it deserves it anyways. Blah, kind of attitude.
Yeah,
It's
and
really
he just
gross.
goes to this like torture validation that the shifter killed people, and if he would just stop, if he would tell him where his family was. It's just gross.
Mm.
And the shifter though tells him that his eye twitches when he lies, and Ketch is just like, my eye twitches all the time, and like, no
And
shit,
then
of course it is.
And then then Ketch punches the shifter again, and it turns into Ketch. Ho, ho, ho.
So now he's gonna have to beat himself. And we go from there to outside a lake.
Yeah, so they're near Rock River, meeting up with Sam and Dean are meeting Alicia and Max. And apparently they were able to figure out where their mother was staying because they went to the only vegan restaurant in town and asked questions. I just found that really funny. I don't know why, but I found it amusing.
They do. And so they tell, when they meet up with the twins, they say that their mom was after a borrower witch, again, it's the word borrower. So a borrower witch, and they say that's one that gets their powers from a demon deal. And I feel like that sounds like a misnomer, right? This doesn't sound like you're borrowing things. It sounds like you're getting things.
Or you're giving things, you're giving your soul. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I don't know. I just
weird.
didn't like the label. Anyway,
Agreed.
so yeah, so we
Agreed.
had the vegan thing, and then Max is still impressed by the Impala.
But he also got a bartender's phone number at the vegan restaurant, so he's pretty happy. So yeah, Dean's gonna show Max baby. And while he's doing that, Alicia's telling Sam that Max thinks that he knows their mom better than she does. And so that's why he thinks she's overreacting because they're both natural witches.
And they have this bond that she doesn't feel like she has with her mom. And then we get a tour of Trunk, who's slightly more organized than usual. And Dean then pulls out a box of witch killing bullets.
Which I felt like Max was going to have a bigger reaction to, just given the fact that he's even though
witch.
he's, yeah, I'm just saying, like, I know he's a hunter, but I think it was kind of cool, but I also feel like he kind of like,
well, I mean, I guess like, do the hunters, like, maybe he knows about them already, right? Like, maybe this is no longer a secret and everybody knows about witch killing bullets. But anyways, we learned that Alicia, she doesn't have any magic, and Sam's kind of empathizing with her, right? Because Dean and his dad had he felt like they had a bond, but that was hunting, and Sam just didn't have that same kind of thing but with Mary, she just goes into a case and vanishes. And Alicia says she doesn't seem like much of a hugger. Fair.
Facts. So they all arrive at the boarding house and they notice that Tasha's car is outside, which is a good sign. I mean, it's like nobody's trying to hide it. So that's good. But before they go in, they see this bald dude come in a dress shirt and a tie, come out of the cellar and just give them like a blank stare and then walk off into the woods.
Yeah, and it was just like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, and Sam just kind of waves at it, and we just let it go. And so Dean tries to pull the stay behind us, but Alicia's just like, nah, I've got a big old knife.
Yeah, she's got a knife. She's ready. She's gonna storm this boarding house with a big old knife. And they go inside, and they're all they barge in like fucking, not literally guns blazing, but basically that's the attitude. And Andy's there arranging flowers. It's a very funny scene.
Yep. And poof, Tasha is there, and she's alive, and she's fine.
Yeah, she's just like, what are y'all doing? Oh my gosh. And we get introductions, and she asks Andy to set up rooms for everybody. But in the meantime, they're just gonna go up and hang out in her room. Okay.
And drink some wine. And Dean's just like, wine.
Yeah. But there's apparently, she tells them there is no witches. It was all a dead end. and that her phone wasn't charging, but she found a really great acupuncturist. So that's all that matters. But as she's trying to open the wine, she snaps her finger, and they kind of can tell something happened, but she turns around really fast and she snaps her finger back, and it looks so fucking painful. I didn't like it.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to bother this whatever this Tasha is, right? Like we're like, okay, so we know like this is not normal.
Not normal Tasha, whatever it is.
Yeah, and Dean sniffs the wine, and Tasha says she ordered from the vegan place. And I can't believe like Dean's like more upset about the wine than about the vegan food.
No reaction.
No Seriously. Reaction at all. So Alicia goes to get it, but Sam's just like, no, I'll go. And Dean, you stay and drink. And Dean's like, okay, so I'm going to drink all of Sam's wine too.
Yes. So we cut back from there to the British Men of Letters compound place. And Ketch is all fired up from torturing the sister, and so that he is trying to go bang it out with Mary. And that's actually the least gross. For some reason, the way he described it was grosser than me just saying bang it out. So there you go.
Yeah. But she was just like, that was a one-time thing. And she's still pissed about what the fuck just happened. And he's still trying to defend, like, saying that torture works. And she's just more grossed out about how much he enjoyed it.
Yes. And he's like, well, whatever. We don't need a conscience, in our business and in the British Men of Letters. The ends, the means justify the ends, basically, is what he's saying.
And he's just like,
call Mick and have him write me up.
And then she's like, I can't get a hold of him. He's not answering his phone or his emails. Like then he's just like, oh, he's busy because he's got called by those old men. And then he gets real weird and he's just like, you should call Dean back so he doesn't think his mommy doesn't love him. And you're just like, you're so punchable. Your face is so punchable. Yeah. And you know that he wants to do that so he can listen in. Anyways, so we go from there to our boarding house where Dean is obsessively checking his phone.
Yeah. And he compliments Tasha on how great Alicia and Max are, and how good they are together, and they're so happy. And she's asking about Sam and Dean growing up in the life.
Sounds like a swinger thing.
Growing up in the life.
What's it like growing up in the life, man?
And he just basically says that it's complicated, but she says that parents always seem, strong, smart, and perfect, but you grow up and you realize that they're just people. I thought that was a sweet message from this weird fake Tasha.
It's just weird because you're just like, what's your agenda here? Like,
you're endearing, but I don't trust you.
Yeah. And so we go back to British Men of Letters, and Mary is listening to Dean's voicemail, and she walks by and she hears Ketch on the phone. And he's talking about a package in the armory with the lot number 12257.
Yeah. And as she's standing there, Dean does call her, and she has to decline it because it's buzzing and she doesn't want to get busted eavesdropping by Ketch. So
the Ketch kind of hears it anyways.
He does. And so she goes in there, and he apparently is in Mick's office, and she's like, why are you in here? And he's like, well, why are you here? And she's like, I use his computer for email. And so he hovers behind her while she checks her email, which is just fucking rude.
It's so rude.
So rude. And we see multiple emails from Sam and Dean checking in. And then we see an email from Mick saying extended stay.
Ta-da! So convenient.
Yeah. And she's telling Ketch out loud that apparently he's going to be in London for a few more weeks.
And we go back to our boarding house, and Sam comes back with the vegan food,
but gives Dean a look. And so Dean knows that he needs to go talk to Sam in the hall. And Sam's like, look at this cool missing person sign they had hanging at the restaurant. It's a picture of our bald guy that we saw come out of the cellar. That's weird. Apparently he's been missing for a month, not just this afternoon. So even weirder. So they're like, okay, we need to figure out what's happening here. And as the viewers, we get a view down the hallway to another room where the mean old lady from the first scene is sitting, or is in her room lit by a fireplace, making a really, really creepy life-size doll out of wooden sticks.
Yeah, it looks like a wicker woman. Well, I
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
called it, you know. But
I
yeah,
used to,
so
yeah,
it's
it
pop
was weird.
it.
I didn't know what to call it. It was
Yeah,
weird.
I kind of went with pop it, like as just in terms because I almost did. We almost did some things on this, but anyways. So British Men of Letters, we're going back there. Mary calls Dean back and is again going to voicemail, and she apologizes for not being there for him and Sam, but she's gonna promises you that she's gonna be there for them, but she just needs to finish this,
Finish
which
what,
is
Mary? What are you
it's just like
finishing?
you just be there for your children. You don't be there for your children after you're done. You're just there for your kids. Anyways, so we go back to the boarding house and Dean has left his phone in the room.
Which is silly. But Sam and Dean find the cellar. And of course they're gonna go in the cellar because duh, something sketchy. That's where A, that dude came from, and B, that's a cellar, so it's sketchy. So they're gonna go in. And Sam pops the lock, and as soon as they open it, they say it smells like death. Uh-oh.
But at least they have flashlights.
They do.
So they have flashlights and they go in. Max leaves Alicia and Tasha. He's going to go off for his date with the hot vegan dude. And then Dean finds a bunch of bodies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got our bald dude, we've got Andy under a tarp, and then there's a drop cloth, and they pull it back, and it's Tasha. And all of their hearts are ripped out.
And then Max comes down in the cellar and they try and stop him from seeing her, but they can't. And then he cries over her and it's really kind of upsetting.
It's very upsetting. Very upsetting scene. I don't like this.
Yeah, because it's so much pain.
But wait, it gets worse.
It gets worse. So we go back to the British Men of Letters, and there in the armory, Mary is looking around for the number that she heard Ketch says, and she finds it. And what the fuck?
Obvious. It's a giant fucking box. I mean, it's
a weird thing to have Mick in. Like, it's just weird.
It's like a metal coffin in the middle of the armory.
It's just a strange thing to have in your arm. I don't know. It also seems like a weird place to put a corpse. It just is. It almost is like a pelican case, you know.
I mean, hold on. Is there a not weird place to put a corpse in a
coffin?
I mean, like in a place like this. I mean, I feel like.
I mean like a morgue. You know, like something like
that's not weird place.
Not your pelican. Yeah, like it looks like it's something that you're going to be taking, like checking
to the range bag.
Yeah. So, but she opens and she just sighs and she's just like, "Oh, it's Mick." And then like she goes down the confusing hallways and her handprint is being denied. She's trying to get into rooms.
Yeah, I didn't really understand if that's something that just is new or if there's certain rooms she's never been allowed in. That was kind of unclear to me. Yeah. But either way, she sees someone get out of a room and she's able to sneak in behind them. And what does she see? A wall of monitors.
And on these monitors are dossiers for all of these hunters, like Garth and Claire and Eileen, plus the Winchesters. Then she finds that Ketch kept that low rent Christian Bale recording, which why did you keep that, man? Like, did you want to hear that over and over again?
Yeah, he probably filled it with rage, so probably did. Or he was jerking off to it like a psycho.
You know, I want to kind of put that on against some beats or something. Just low rent Christian Bale.
So she is like, oh, fuck. And so she calls Dean again and says, we've got a problem. And that's a voicemail, though, because he doesn't have his fucking phone with him. And she goes to leave the room and Ketch is waiting for her.
And
this room isn't for you.
Yeah, and he was just like, oh, there was an unfortunate werewolf mishap. And she's like, what? A werewolf shot him in the head?
And he's like, not impossible.
Well, it's not.
I know, it's just funny.
And werewolves have guns. Sure. But I mean, that doesn't seem like what they would do.
No. And she calls him a psychopath, rightfully so. But then they get into an altercation and she's asking if he killed Mick. And Ketch's like, he's weak. He's not one of us. Meh. And he throws Mary on the floor and she's pissed. But he's like, we're going to do whatever it takes to rid the world of what goes bump in the night. And basically says that Mick and Sam and Dean are not capable of committing to that.
Yeah, and that's like her button, and she's like, "Don't talk about my boys." And he's just then confesses everything that he has done this season, and he talks about how he killed the feds, how he killed the psychic girl, and he's just like, "Your kids are sloppy," and she's like, "They're decent."
Hmm. Yeah, but he shares the plan. The British Men of Letters plan is that this is the end for American hunters, but he could protect her if you play your part and play nice. She does not want to do that.
She does not play nice, and she headbutts him. Then she pulls out her brass knuckles, and he is like, "They only work on angels," and then she punches him in the nuts.
Yeah, and then and punches him in the face too, because
I
like
know, but the
no,
nuts was really good.
it was
And
it
because
was
she's
good.
like brass, and she's right, brass knuckles are brass knuckles, motherfucker.
Yeah,
And so,
brass knuckles are brass knuckles.
and so she opens the door to leave, and he fucking tases her. You fucking British men of letters. And so
Yeah.
we're gonna take a break from the British men of letters and talk about some lore. And we're gonna talk about we're talking about our secret society this season again. We're talking about our Golden Dawn people. And today we're going to talk about a secret ritual. And the Golden Dawn scrapbook and Magicians of the Golden Dawn were some of the main sources for this, and the rest will be in the show notes. So we talked about the neophyte ritual, which was for, wait for it if you forgot, neophytes. And within the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, they created a second order. So you could, like, once you joined in, you got through the first order, but then the cool kids were in the second order. So that's where you wanted to be. McGregor Mathers created a whole new ritual for this, and we're going to talk about that ritual. This was created in 1891, so a Victorian secret ritual. The vault. The initiation to the second order was conducted in a vault that was made to replicate a full-size version of Christian Rosenkreuz's tomb. And it was designed and painted by Moina Mina Bergson Mathers, who is the wife of McGregor Mathers, and she was an artist whose visions influenced much of the Golden Dawn's material. She wrote a lot of things for them. But for this case, the vault was an 8-foot high, 7-sided chamber, and it was 12-foot wide with 8-foot by 5-foot panels, each divided into 40 squares, and each of these squares had a different symbol. And each square had a specific color that was matched to that symbol, that was a complementary color for its rectangular background, and they were taken from what was called the occult color scale. Now, the Golden Dawn developed this whole magical color system where color was linked to spiritual frequency. So it was what the color they thought it was resonating with the cosmic and the design forces. So I can only think of that when I hear frequency, I think like sound waves. So like
Right.
this like color vibrates at the same level as this certain symbol, right? And they had that for all different things, like the tree of life, different elements, planetary forces, the ritual implements, everything had a color associated with it. So each of these squares had 2 colors painted on them. A third color then was also painted to correspond to their planetary color, and this created a kind of cool Harlequin effect. And this is very like each of that's a lot of panels and a lot of detail that's on this, right? In addition to that, the ceiling was bright white, and that had a central transparent rose with 22 petals. So I'm assuming by transparent, like it wasn't invisible. Like I think it was just like
No.
lightly colored.
Yeah.
And that rose was enclosed within a black triangle encircled by a black heptagram. Now, a heptagram is a 7-sided star. Then they had a floor, which is black. And on that, there was another heptagram. And in that, there was a great red dragon with 7 heads. And that was painted in red. And then there was a gold cross united to the red rose of 49 petals. And then the rest of the floor was just black. So you had like some symbols down there, but just like a cool black floor and a white ceiling. Right. And this
Sounds
rose.
kind of cool.
It is, yeah. And the rose and cross theme was repeated in the decoration of the vault. In the middle of the floor was what was called a pastos, but that's a coffin, right? So there's a coffin in the middle of this floor. And then I said above it, and I just think they mean like not like above it hanging from the ceiling. I think they just meant like ahead of it. Was a circular altar, which is a caster, so that can be moved around.
Not a pelican case that with a body like mixed in.
Probably not. That could be somewhere that maybe is on the altar. You've got stuff on the
I'm
altar, but
teasing.
yeah. All right. So in our ceremony, so the candidate is admitted to the temple, and he gets this text, and they're like, "Okay, you need to read this out loud. You need to read it loudly and firmly." And the text outlines their qualifications for membership in the second order and concludes with a demand for their admission to the order, right? So, like, this is why I belong here. Let me in. And then they're like, no. And they get rejected and get led away. Then they get brought back, and this time they're wearing a plain black robe with a chain around their neck, and their arms are tied behind their back. They have to listen to a lecture on humility, and then they're bound to a large wooden cross at the waist and feet. Then, as they're bound up there, the candidate has to take an oath, including a promise to keep the second order secret from the first order and from the rest of the world. They also promise only to perform practical magic in front of muggles and to not make magical talismans for others without permission from a chief. Muggles. The candidate was then told what they would learn in the second order, and finally they were released from the cross of suffering. Then the second and third adepts that are in the room recite the legend of Christian Rosencrantz. So after this, the candidate is again escorted from the room and brought back again. This time they're taken into the room and they're brought before this coffin. And the coffin lid is opened up to reveal that the chief adept has been in there this whole time, right? So he's in there.
Just chilling?
Just chilling. He or she, because chief adept could be a man or a woman in this place. But in this case, it's a man. And is fully clothed in regalia with a crook and a scourge, which are basically a scepter and a whip, in his crossed arms. These can be purchased from the Golden Shop online for the low price of $260. So this chief guy that's in there is in a white cassock and also a red cloak. There is a yellow and white Egyptian headdress on, and they're also wearing yellow shoes. There is a yellow collar with a rose cross symbol attached to it, and they also have a scepter that's decorated with the 5 elemental colors: black, blue, red, yellow, and white, and there's a pentagram on top. He also has a white lamp, a brazier, and a candle. I'm not sure if those 3 things are in this coffin with him, because that seems like a lot of things to have in the coffin. Maybe they're next to it, but yeah, they also have that. Yeah. So then, without moving or opening his eyes, so they've opened this thing around, like, ta-da! Like, here's your chief, and he's like just in there with his whip, and he says like a brief discourse without moving or opening his eyes. There's just like da-da, da-da, da-da. And then the third adept recounts the history of the 3 of the earliest, highest chiefs of the Rosicrucian order. The candidates led out of the room again. But this is then the chief adept is released from the coffin. I think this is just like, you got to get out of this room so we can get out of here. He's been in here a while,
and it's gonna be real awkward crawling out of this thing.
Yeah,
like, that's just there's no graceful way to do that, right?
There's no graceful way to get out of a coffin. There's really not. And so the candidate then gets brought back in, and then the chief adept explains the symbolism of the room, and finally the ceremony comes to an end. So this has happened a long time, but just because you finish that ceremony doesn't mean that you're done. Then there are 5 stages for this new Adeptus Minor to progress through. The first stage requires completing and practicing 12 rituals, notably the rituals of the pentagram and hexagram, to invoke and banish various spirits. Additionally, the study of 10 flying rolls is mandated. Now, flying rolls were papers and lectures that were written by members of the Golden Dawn. And the first flying roll, just titled Notice and a Subject for Contemplation, which was written by Dr. Westcott, said that the second order was to be kept from the first order. Those who made it to the second order were forbidden from telling the first order members that they have passed any further ceremony, that they perform practical magic, nor when they meet, nor where, nor who is the head of the second order. If they have any questions, you're supposed to say, if you belong to the second order, you would know what you would ask me. If you do not know, you do not belong. And if I did know, I can no more tell you than a 1 degree out of 10 degree can tell anything about it to a 0 degree out of 0 degree. So solid, man.
Sick burn.
It is,
I
right?
sound also it feels very you don't talk about Fight Club.
It is very Fight Clubby, but just like if you knew, you knew, which is also true. Like if you were in this, you would know, and so I can't tell you. So advancement to the second and third stages were contingent upon passing 3 exams that tested the practical application of rituals and the creation of magical implements. They have like a sword and they have a lotus wand they have to make, and they have to talk about them and what they mean. There's 3 more tests on spirit vision and astral projection, divination, and the making of talismans. Then they have to study 24 flying rolls and complete 5 more rituals. And the 4th stage, you learn the Enochian system, the magical schema created by the magic's greatest cut, John Dee. Then the adept completed their work after the 5th stage, which involved a ritual interpretation of the neophyte grade symbolism. And then after all that, then you're done. And I feel like a lot of like these flying rolls are available online for free, but I do also feel like this is kind of like one of those course things, right? Like, oh, you got to get another one. Oh, you got to get another one. By the way, you can't finish until you buy 4 more of my books.
Yeah.
Although it was interesting, and we'll have a more lore on some of the flying rolls,
Yeah.
including one on how to do an exorcism, one on the rules for scrying that Moina wrote, which I think are interesting, but it's too long for our normal podcast time. So we'll do it in more lore. They were written by the members, which is kind of interesting that the members kind of get to write their own rules,
Right,
like and
right,
their
right.
own like rituals and their own. So everyone's kind of creating this stuff, not just Mathers. Mathers created most of it, but I think kind of having that autonomy is interesting. That is the ritual to become a second order of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. So now you know what their secret ritual was. It's not very
Neat.
secret.
Super secret.
Yeah. So in Supernatural Land, though, we're going to go back to our boarding house where Max is now attacking the Tasha lookalike.
Yeah, because he's like, that's not mom. Who are you and what did you do to her? And Alicia's freaking out, calling out to her mom because she doesn't know what they know yet. And nobody's filling her in. This is not cool. And so Max is like, no, and he's trying to do a reveal spell. And she shudders real weird. Real weird. So gold star for acting here because like her body movements are really good in this. She has this crazy shudder and she says something about the room at the end of the hall, top of the stairs. So we see our mean old lady hear her psychically say this and she snaps her fingers.
And here
And
comes Andy and the other guy.
yeah. So Dean and Max run out into the hall and our bald dude is there waiting and Max flings him out the window. But when Dean looks out the window, we see his leg is broken, but it looks like his leg is a batch of twigs that have been broken. So, and fake Tasha collapses as Max breaks into the mean old lady's room. And Dean's got a pistol pointed at her, but she flings him into a chair and by magic and he holds him there. So he's stuck. In the meantime, Alicia is freaking the fuck out because her fake mom is twitching and making snapping wood sounds on the floor. It is very distressing.
Yeah, and so she has no idea what is going on.
No, because nobody told her shit.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And then our witch is offering Max a deal while Sam is punching Andy, whose bones just seem to kind of reform. So he's like, what the hell do I do with this?
Creepy. Yeah.
And Dean asks what the witch did to those people, and she snaps her fingers, and that gives them the vision of how Tasha dies, and explains that because of her deal, that she is going to hell unless she finds someone else to take on that burden. Which then, like, then where does she go?
Yeah, like what? You just magically go to heaven now? No, that doesn't seem right. It's super weird. And so we've got Andy and Sam are still fighting. Alicia's still trying to talk to her fake mom. And that she and our mean old lady, which is offering to teach, she said she offered the power to Tasha, and said even dying she was rude. And we see a vision of Tasha spitting in her face while she was dying, which was
Yeah,
pretty tough. But so she made them into one of her creatures, is what she calls them. And she also refers to them as a doll. So, yeah. And so she takes out their heart and she puts it into this wooden doll. And that's what makes it. It has all of their memories. And
yeah, so it's basically it's her, but it's not her. And Dean just tries to be like, no, your mom is gone when Max is trying to stand up to her. And because his powers aren't really working on her, right? And she's offering him, like, you can have your mom forever. You can have this doll. And Dean's just like, no, 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 no. And the witch is like, shut up, Dean. And she makes him shut up.
she does make him shut up. And so she starts to hand the ring to Max, and Max is going to take it. Max is going to do this deal. He does not want to lose his mother. And as this is happening, Sam's getting choked out, and doll Tasha is just crackling even more. So Alicia gets up to go help Sam. And in the meantime, we see the doll's eyes glow. Tasha's eyes glow. And she stands up and she stabs Alicia.
She fucking stabs Alicia. What the hell?
With Alicia's own dagger, which is fucking rude.
That's also rude, right?
Yeah. So as that's happening, Max is trying to take the ring. Dean shoots our old witch and the ring falls. And Max is upset about this. And as this happens, all the dolls dissolve, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know what other word to use.
Yeah, they fade into ashes. But while this is happening, so Alicia's dying. Dean is trying to tell Max that was a deal with a demon, and if you touch that, then you're going to lose your soul, right?
Yeah.
And then Dean hears Sam yell, and they all come running to find a dead Alicia, and Max loses his shit.
Yeah, reasonable. This is very upsetting all at once. Very upsetting all at once. And so, Alicia's dead. So outside of the house, Sam and Dean walk up to Max, who's standing there, obviously been crying. And they're like, look, you're probably in shock, but this is be upsetting. And he's like, no, I'm mad at myself for not taking Alicia seriously. And Dean's kind of trying to console them. And he's just like, y'all just need to stop talking. Like, Max does not want to hear them.
Do you not want to hear it?
No, doesn't want to hear it. And Dean's pointing out that, well, we need to burn the bodies, and he's like, yeah, like my dad. He's like, no, y'all leave. I'll do it. I want to do it without you. He wants them to leave.
Maybe I don't want to burn a corpse.
Because that's yeah. So Sam and Dean drive.
And they are like, okay, bye. This is awkward. We don't want to, like, you're making us feel really uncomfortable, so we're going to leave.
Yeah.
And they leave him with his corpses. And in the car, Dean is just lamenting that they do terrible things all the time to save each other. But then we're going to see in the background while he's talking what Max is doing.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, Dean's like, yeah, he seems super saved from what we did. And so he's like, yeah, I get why he wanted to do that, to save families. So in the meantime, we see Max is making an Alicia doll. That's what he's doing. He got the ring. He got Alicia's body. He cuts her heart out and puts it in the wicker doll that the
twig doll
was starting. Yep. The twig doll that she was starting to make.
Yep. And then
we see her.
Alicia's alive, and she sees the blood on his arm, and she's like, "I'll explain everything, but we have to go."
And then he burns her real body.
Yeah, he takes a grimoire and he sets her body on fire. And then again, like, you can see this from the window, and everyone's like, yeah, I thought that place was going to burn down a long time ago. Like, all those candles they had out. Like, so this bed and breakfast is just going to burn down.
Definitely going to burn down. And the song In Peaceful Dreams by C6 Steve plays. And it was a very interesting song.
I mean, I guess also, so if this burns down, then because most of the bodies already went. No, because the real bodies were in the cellar. Mm-hmm. So, like, are they going to find a bunch of corpses? Like, what's going to happen? Like, once again, Sam and Dean, y'all just
like these
left.
Episodes, yeah,
I know, but they just left. Like this is like a big old mess. Like some poor sheriff is going to come. Like y'all just like some sheriff is going to come along in this house and find like 4 burnt bodies with their hearts ripped out. Like y'all just left a big old mess.
And then they're going to retire. That sheriff's going to be like, oh, yeah, check that time. I'm like, I'm out.
All right. So we've got Dean checking the voicemails from Mary.
Well, Sam falls asleep in the car. And he gets the first one, and it's her one, like, oh, we'll catch up when I'm done. And then the next one is, we need to talk. And he's like, oh shit. So he yells for Sam to wake up. And we cut back to the fucking British Men of Letters compound place.
And this time, it really is Mary in that torture chair.
No. And he's like, I gave you a chance. Blech. And Dean's calling, and the call gets declined by
Lady Fancy Pants! Lady Fancy Pants is there, and she says they have other plans for Mary. What are you doing? Oh no, this can't be good. No. All right, so we end with Lady Fancy Pants.
We do.
All right, so do we have people to talk about? Twig people?
Yeah, we have a couple people. So our cast this week, Tasha Banes was played by Alvina August. She's been in episodes of Arrow, a few episodes of The Good Doctor. She's been in The Boys and Tracker as well. She was Vesta in Bad Times at the El Royale. Lady Constance Blackwood in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina as a reoccurring character. Blackwood, I said it wrong. In the series Siren as a reoccurring character. She was Jessie in the movie Noelle, Detective Karen Hunt in the Nancy Drew series, and Dr. Summers as a reoccurring character in Animal Control. Our demon borrower witch.
Wait, hold on. I'm like, didn't she have twins? She had twins in Sabrina the Teenage Witch too. Like, she just keeps giving birth to twins. Okay, that's sorry, go on.
You're right. So our demon borrower witch, which is what her name is. She doesn't have a character name.
Boo! Badly labeled, badly named.
Mm-hmm. She's played by Linda Darlow, and she's been in episodes.
But not booing you. You're not booing the actress.
Booing the character. The lack of a name. She needed a name.
She needed a name and a better one than that.
Descriptor, yeah. So Linda Darlow's been in television shows going back to The Facts of Life and The Jeffersons, Who's the Boss, Murphy's Law, 21 Jump Street, several episodes of MacGyver, The Commish as a repeat character, The Ranch, 4400, and iZombie, and The Good Doctor. She was Lorraine in the film Flight 93 and has done a bunch of voice work in Inuyasha anime, and then has done a lot of Hallmark Christmas movies as well. Andy was played by Tim Carlson. He's been in episodes of Travelers, The Magicians, and Fire Country. And Rick is the name of our bald guy. Sorry, Rick. He was played by Paul Rodgick. He's been in episodes of Firefly Lane and had done a lot of French Canadian shows that I was not familiar with. There we go. That's what I got.
So as I said at the beginning, this was a Richard Speight directed episode, and you can kind of see some of his stuff through here. Like, you see the humor that's kept in this, even though it was really dark.
Yeah. They did a good job keeping some good lines and some humor in it with it being really dark. But it was a very fucking dark episode.
And, it's one of those, oh no, why did we have to bring in more hunters that are just going to die? Like, and hunters that I like too. Like, I don't want to see a Bad Max, and I don't want Alicia to be dead and to be a twig lady. Like, they were cool. Like, why you gotta fuck with the hot twins?
I know. I was like, oh, it's going to suck that their mom dies, but not them be all fucked up too. Like, goddamn, like, give us something.
Yeah, they took it pretty far. They would.
But also, like, is it too much that they're taking out the hunters? Like, we've lost multiple hunters this season, while the British Men of Letters are also trying to take out the hunters. So it seems kind of like why are we taking out our own hunters in the storyline when the British Men of Letters are? I don't know. Or maybe
we already have. Yeah, and maybe this comes back into it. I don't know. But honestly, I really can't remember. And so we'll find out together.
We'll learn.
I was like, I didn't want to cheat. I didn't want to cheat and look ahead to see.
No,
sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want to keep myself. I'm like, just let those brain cells die, and that was okay. They'll come back.
But yeah, I thought it was super dark, but interesting. I liked I thought the premise of the house was super interesting, and the old lady. I thought it was creepy as it was. It was cool.
Yeah, although that it was wicker. Like, I wish they could have done something. I don't know how many different places you can go, but like, I feel like, I know it wasn't wicker, it was twigs, and it still made it made a cool thing. Yeah, no, I'm fine with it.
I also thought it was interesting. The timeline was an interesting implication. Like, how long had she been there? It seemed like not very fucking long.
But she was tracking her down, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, that guy had only been gone for a month.
Yeah, so it's not like she had been like kicking it in this fucking boarding house for a year or something. She's been
She's on the hunt to get her soul back.
right.
Right. Well, and again, I think I also kind of like, would she go to purgatory?
I think so. That's what I would guess. I mean, I guess that's probably better than hell if those are the trade-offs.
I mean, not that she
If
knows.
one
Like,
had to
do
choose.
you have to go to black and white land? I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, we know purgatory exists in their
I know it's
universe,
black and
so
white land.
yeah.
So, anyways, any other
All right.
thoughts? Oh yeah, we're getting close to the end, and so we've got we've got Mary captured.
Yep.
We still have Lucifer's baby out
Baby running
there,
around out in the universe.
and now he's doing weird yellow eye things.
Yeah, that must be uncomfortable.
Fair. They could have chosen a different color. I think it's more golden than yellow, but yeah. The Super Mario power up, which is not them playing video games, which is yeah.
Disappointing.
Like they have enough going on. I don't think they have time to play video games. I'm glad like Dean's not into Call of Duty, you know?
Yeah, but sometimes it's a good brain break. They might need a hobby like that to step away every time once in a while.
Maybe. Who knows? All right. I think on that note, we're gonna end this. So cheers, jerk.
Cheers, bitch.